This year I have noticed something quite interesting with big publisher and gaming industry. Specifically, I see Triple AAA companies going for a second push for their game and refusing to let the game die. This is interesting because Triple AAA industry used to be very cut and dry. If you release a game and it do well, then good. That game will probably get a sequel developed by the same studio. On the other hand, if the game fails, well, then the studio is facing a real risk of getting shut down by the publisher, and we definitely won't be seeing any sequel to those franchises anytime soon. This is starting to change though, which really interested me. We see many high-profile games from 2016 that didn't meet their sales expectation, trying something differently in 2017 to capture the audience they failed to grab onto. It is almost like these games are attempting to create a second launch window. I have recognized this pattern for a while, but I didn't think anything of it until recently that Bethesda announced they're going to offer a 3-mission trial for Dishonored 2 completely for free. This ticked off a part of my brain as to what these publishers are hoping to do. But before getting into any speculation and discussion as to why they are doing this, let me showcase some of the games that I have recognized that fit this pattern. Dishonored 2 will be offering a trial period which makes the first 3 missions completely for free for everyone. Mafia 3 offered a completely free demo back in March. Titanfall 2 offered a free trial and double XP weekend just last week. Street Fighter 5 got a PC preview time windows that run from March 28th to April the 3rd. You can also play 3 hours of Watch Dogs 2 completely for free since January. What fascinated me is all 5 of these games are good games that the publisher and developer of these games clearly believe in. Interestingly, almost all of them also didn't meet their sales expectation. Dishonored 2 sales number was a disappointment for Bethesda considering how successful Dishonored was as a new IP back in 2012. Titanfall 2 was an incredible game with great content and generous DLC offering. However, it sold poorly because EA decided to release the game so close to Battlefield 1, which inevitably cannibalized its own market. Street Fighter 5 had a very rough launch with the server issues and clearly was rushed to market for esports opportunity at EVO. This means that the game also launched without a story mode and a much smaller cast of characters. Watch Dogs 2 was very much overlooked by many due to the disappointment surrounding the first game and negative reception that many level to the franchise as a whole. Mafia 3 was actually the odd one out here. It is actually financially successful but was panned by many critics for its repetitive mission and uninspiring stories for Mafia titles. What really interests me is that all of these games are flawed in some way, but their respective developer and publisher are not willing to give up on the game just yet and go on to implement a free trial period or demo to incentivize players to take a look at the game again. This makes a lot of sense from business perspective. Many of these publishers spend massive amount of money funding these games. Therefore, they are looking for opportunities to make some of those money back from the market. So it only makes sense that they are the second push for these games, mainly just because they really got nothing to lose at this point.
When you got nothing to lose.
If the push becomes successful, they can make more money. If not, then it don't really cost them that much to release these trial and demo for the game anyway. Now, a much better question I think is, why have we not seen this before? Why now that this trend start emerging? I think this is where it kind of get interesting because technically it kind of exists before, but mostly in PC market with titles like Final Fantasy XIV and Diablo 3, both of which had a pretty awful launch. But both Blizzard Entertainment and Square Enix went back on the drawing board and fixed their games. All of a sudden, we get a second push with Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Word and Diablo 3 Ultimate Edition, both of which address many of the problems people had with the original games, which reinvigorate tons of interest around these games. There are also other examples on PC like Rainbow Six Siege as well. But what I'm trying to get at is, why do we only see this recently with console game? I mean, what kind of environment allow for this quote-unquote second launch for a game to take place? And I think the answer here is the rising significance of digital sales. More than ever, people are buying their game digitally, and with that comes the long tail opportunity to sell the game. By establishing your position in the digital storefront, you create a spot for yourself in the market forever. You see, one of the problems with physical store space is that it is limited. There's not enough space to put every game that ever exists on. This means that if your game came out like last year and it didn't do too well, then well, chances are those stores would remove the game from the storefront altogether. It really is because you have one opportunity to launch your game and you better get that right. However, with the existence and rising popularity of digital storefront, that might not be the case anymore. Sure, the launch window would always be important for any games, but it is no longer your only opportunity. So I think this is why publishers are going for this second push with their game. I mean, Bethesda, Ubisoft, Capcom, 2K and EA all believe in the potential of the game they put out, and now more than ever they have this opportunity for a second chance with digital distribution. So it only makes sense that they are taking these chances. If anything, I'm glad that these games get a second chance they truly deserve, and I could only hope that us as gamers would give them a second chance too.